on
Sermon in a Box.
So, you want to explain?
So we are doing a joint sermon today. We've both chosen a sermon title and they kind of go together.
Unintentionally at first.
Yeah, so Autumn, what's yours about?
Mine is pain equals happiness. And yours is?
Jeremiah 29:11.
So, I'm going to start by saying or asking, when it gets hard, do you go to God first or do you just stress about it, do nothing, just keep trying to go through it? Because I know for me, I try to go through it. I stress out a lot. I will shiver. Hi. If you see this black dog, it's Rocco. You've never seen him before. But anyways, so when something bad happens, there's going to be an outcome. It could be for a while, it could be like right after, but something good will come out of it. So I want to start by telling a story about me. It involves faith. So like the summer before 5th grade, so I didn't really have any friends in elementary school, but I had a friend, let's call her, I don't know, Cheryl? First name that popped in my head. But so she left to a different state, so I couldn't really hang out with her anymore. And then when 5th grade started, there was a new girl, let's call her Daisy. And Daisy, so she had no friends either because she just moved. Well, I think so, yeah. And so I guess I was so eager for a friend that we became friends. And then like a month before my birthday or so, she actually sent one of her friends / neighbors to go over to me and say she didn't want to be my friend anymore. So I was in a lot of pain. I was crying. I couldn't get over it. I didn't go to God. I'll tell you that. And I just gave up. I felt like I could never have another good friend, and my other friend's in a different state, so why even care? And then either the summer after 5th grade or during 6th grade, I don't remember. So our church has a youth group on Wednesday nights, and Faith moved into this state, and she went to the youth group, and I met her, and I honestly thought she was weird at first. You thought the same about me.
Mm-hmm.
And we became best friends, and here we are today.
Mm-hmm.
So even during the time of pain that my friend left me, and I felt worthless and I gave up, a good thing happened, that Faith came in, and she's probably my best friend that I've ever had. So, anyways, so that was the good thing out of it. So Benjamin Disraeli, I don't know how to say it, but he says action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action. So even if like you could be in the same spot and you won't be happy, but you have to like go for something new to be happy. You have to have an action. So, also, like, if something bad happened, say, a month ago, then in, like, 5 years from then, something good could have happened from that. Not saying if you're talking about, like, my dog just died, nothing good's gonna come out of that. You never know. So, also, by Aristotle, he says we cannot learn without pain. So, we have to go through the pain to get to the good times. And you have to just go through it. Go to God during the time, of course, because God always has a plan for us. He is a good father, and he has a good plan for us. So just know when you're hurting, just know something's good is going to happen. In Romans 8, it says, "And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his promise." Romans 8:28. "And for I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us." Romans 8:18. So even when it hurts and you feel like giving up, just know God has a good plan for you in the future.
Alrighty, guys. So I have to bring this a bit closer. I got my notes here too, if they'll actually come up. So my sermon is titled Jeremiah 29:11 because I often hear people complaining about it, and so I did like a little bit of like inside research type stuff. So okay, Jeremiah 29:11. So we often look at this verse as something to refer to when we need help, we need peace, when we have troubles. It could be something as big as like someone in your family dying, and it can be something as small as you misplaced your phone and you're upset about it. Like anything, just anything that you could consider a problem that you're going through at the moment. So Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to help you prosper and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." So we look at this verse and we think, oh, that means God won't let anything bad happen to me. So we think life, because of that verse, that God is not going to let anything bad happen to us, that our lives are just going to be perfect. And so when something bad happens to us, like someone in your family gets cancer, or your dog gets sick, or you fail a class in school, anything, you blame God for it because he said that he would never harm you. But did he actually say that? So the origins of this verse are interesting because this was written while the Israelites were in exile as a punishment for not obeying God. So they were being punished for not doing what God wanted them to do. Now, in that time, it felt like it would be impossible that God could ever bring them peace and hope after everything they had done. Sometimes you can be going through something so big that you don't even know what to do, and you don't even stop for even just 1 second and think, oh, God's here with me. You think, oh, wow, God, you're so good that you let this bad thing happen to me, so I'm really upset with you, and I'm just not going to care about you anymore. Oh, my goodness. And we blame God for a lot of things. But the truth is that God does not want us to suffer. He wants us to grow in our relationship with him and to flourish. But sometimes to flourish, you need to feel what it's like to take steps backwards before you can take a leap forwards. So I'm going to tell you guys a small story. Sorry, I have to move my notes. So when I was only 9 years old, my father passed away from a heart attack. And at that time, it was very hard to believe that God loved me because I couldn't understand why he would take my father like that. Like, what did I ever do to deserve this? But years later, I realized that if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have my deep relationship with God. And because of that, my mom remarried, and I moved here, and I met Autumn. And I haven't said this yet. I probably haven't told her this yet, but you guys probably suspect that anyway. But because I had just moved here, I knew nobody. I had all of my friends for 12 years. I lived in my other state for 12 years, and I completely moved states, and so it was really new and really weird. And I had known the same friends my whole life, gone to school with them, growing up with them, everything. So it was all brand new, and I knew nobody. So one of the first people I met was Autumn. So not only did her problem with her friend help her meet me, but my problem with my dad helped me meet her. So God helped us meet each other. And I just think that was really cool. And so what really seemed like a giant black hole of like disaster was actually a right path toward what God wanted for us. And so what this verse is actually saying is that God is the peace, that small shred of peace that you need in times of darkness. So you can use this verse to say, oh, God will help me, but not to say it will never let anything bad happen to you. Use it to remember that when something does happen to you, God has you in his hands and he won't let you go. So the last part of Jeremiah 29:11 says, God has a plan for your life. So all the junk you go through is actually on the path to your forever home with God. So now if you could take take one thing to really think about from this message, it should be just because there are problems in this world doesn't mean God is not holding you through them all. So that basically means that God isn't going to make sure that nothing bad ever happens to you, but when it does, he's going to make sure he's there to help you through it. So yeah, and that was kind of trying to tie both of ours together. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And yeah, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Cut. Okay. Hot. Hot.